Hey guys, good morning. It's Saturday the 15th. Hope you're having a great day. I did not get a video out last night. I was going to. Last night I did a couple of posts to the Point the Film Journey Facebook page. I haven't been doing that a lot lately. I know some people follow me straight on YouTube, some people follow me on Facebook, some people don't follow me at all. But I just want to share that with you. But yesterday was something I did want to share with you on my end, and I wanted to share with you a couple of observations I made through the day that I posted on Facebook last night. First of all, if you followed me through my journey, you'd know that I really put a lot of value in little things in life, in certain words at certain times, and a lot of that goes to music and movies. I think there are a lot of movies that send a message. So I'm going to talk about that particular point here in a second. But let me try to give you a little setup of that. Most of you that follow me know that if you follow me from the beginning, you know that I kind of dealt with a lot of tragedy in my younger life, or not tragedy per se, yeah, I guess, but death and things like that. And I don't know, I've always just kind of taken things kind of in stride, and I try to be as real as possible. But I've gotten a lot of compliments, I guess you'd say, over my lifetime because there are things that occur and people would freak out. And I definitely have my moments where I freak out, but not about the big stuff. It's weird. I just kind of take things in life in stride. And a situation happened again yesterday, and I was able to find the strength from some of the gifts I was given, and in particular, I've got some Christmas music on behind me right here. Um, but in particular, I found strength in a song and a movie, and was thinking about my kids. And so yesterday, I got a phone call again to to let you guys know, and this is not to whine or complain. When I left on the journey, I left with $6 in my pocket. Didn't have any savings. I gave whatever a little bit I had to my kids and their mom, and I knew I was going to run a risk of losing some things. Well, through the journey, and with the help of some very gracious people, I was able to maintain myself, at least my home and my cars. When I say cars, my kid's mom's car, my car, and so it's not like I have a fleet of vehicles. I have payments on hers, payments on mine left in my home. Certainly, my credit cards have gone down the tubes, or my credit's gone down the tubes, but I'm not that concerned about that as long as I have a roof over my head and can get to work. Um, but the fact is, I band-aided to just get through the journey, and I'm very, very far behind, and I need to catch up, and I'm doing my best to do so. But the problem is those calls are coming now where, hey, what are we doing because you're so far behind? Well, one of the calls came yesterday about my home, saying, hey, legal proceedings are going to start, and they wanted to notify me. And in one way, I knew this was a possibility. Everything's gonna be okay, and that's the song I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna find a way. Um, but it's alarming. Most people would get that phone call and kind of freak out, and it's not a good call to get, to say someone's coming to your door to serve papers to take you home. It's really not a good call. It's nobody's problem but mine. But the point is, I needed to call a couple of people and let them know that why there's people coming to the door and where I'm at and so forth, because it impacts other people. And so it was funny that, not funny, but people were concerned. What are you talking about? What? Hold on, and a panic struck. And surprisingly, I was relatively calm about it. And as I said before, if I were to lose everything, as long as I have my family and my kids, um, you know, I'll find a way. My home isn't the four walls; it's the people I'm with, and my friends and family. And to that point, I give myself a little bit of credit for being real, because I don't portray this, hey, if it happens, big deal, and then, behind the scenes go wigging out. Um, I don't want it to happen. But in that moment, when I was having that conversation with somebody, and they were like, how can you be so calm? Um, the truth of the matter is, I went back to a movie. It's a movie I want you guys to watch, and I encourage. It's called The Good Lie. It's a terrific movie. Reese Witherspoon is in it, along with a few others. Um, I really encourage you. But in the movie is a song called "Find a Way," and Again, if you follow my journey, you know that I would sing my kids to sleep with 3 songs every night when they were younger, and Find a Way is one of them. It's kind of, if I were to drop dead tomorrow and they had a service for me and said, well, how would you, remember Jim? I think that song would be kind of really appropriate. And while that got me going, and I was dealing with that, my son had a baseball game late last night, 8 o'clock to like 10 o'clock, and I was driving to the game. And so part of this video, if anybody's watching, is to give a shout out and credit to kind of all the grinders out there. I'll find a way, and what I'm doing is no different than what, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, but maybe 60% of America does. A lot of folks, families, parents, they live paycheck to paycheck, week to week, and they just grind it out. And, it's kind of I want to recognize those folks because I'm not anything special for doing it. It's what a lot of our society does. And there's a lot of single moms out there working 2 and 3 jobs, and a lot of dads working 2 or 3 jobs to take care of their family. And frankly, many people that aren't in that situation right now, were in that situation at one point in their lives, and they found a way to grind it out. So again, I'm not looking for any kind of accolades or pats on the back, but there's a certain segment of us out there, and it's a large segment that find a way to get through the tough times, whether it be dealing with medical issues, emotional issues, financial issues. But we find a way to survive, and so this is a shout out to all of us out there that are grinding it out and are going to find a way. So if you're doing nothing this weekend, think about getting your family together and watching a movie called The Good Lie. There's definitely some lessons to be learned in there. A great song called Find a Way. So thank you for that part of things here. And again, shout out to all you folks that have lived your lives like that or experienced it at one point in your life. The other thing I wanted to talk about was something I thought was, I was sharing kind of a story from just the past, but so I keep coming back. One of the things that keeps coming back that I talk about with some frequency, and I'm not trying to justify it in any way, so if any haters or trollers want to say that, feel free. But highlighted in our society right now is what, and the sports world is a microcosm of our society, is this awareness to harassment on the Me Too movement, but also on the abuse, the domestic violence and the abuse front. And there are actually 3 things I want to talk about. One I found a little bit odd, I don't have an answer to. One, I'll share a personal story, which I won't say was offensive, but was disturbing. And how we raise our children. And another one was just a story that kind of shows you how whacked out our world can be. And the thing I'm talking about right now is I'll say our criminal justice system. And not just our criminal justice system, but there's this kind of societal justice system as well. And this kind of relates to sports. So I was reading a story yesterday about how a former Dallas Cowboys lineman in a civil case was found 48% guilty of intoxication manslaughter. The facts of the case were this gentleman was doing 110 miles an hour in a 45 mile per hour zone with a .18 blood alcohol level, and he was speeding, and he got into an accident, and his friend and passenger was killed in the car accident. And the courts in the civil case found the driver 48% at fault, the bar that served them 48% at fault, and the passenger 4% because he got in the car and beat and had a seatbelt on. But when you read about the criminal aspect of it, from the criminal aspect of it, this gentleman served a 10-year suspended sentence. Now, I'm no lawyer, and I don't necessarily can say I know with fact what a suspended sentence means, but I don't imagine he did any jail time. And right now, he's serving as a scouting intern for the Dallas Cowboys. So my point is not that he's, as an intern, I don't imagine he's getting paid, but he's involved in the sport he loves. And in essence, he's responsible for a man's death. And then I look at a gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman, I look at a person like Ray Rice. So if you know Ray Rice's situation, he he was a football player for the Baltimore Ravens. He was on video at an Atlantic City hotel where he literally punched his then fiance, knocked her out cold. It's a disturbing video. and he was suspended and hasn't been able to sniff any kind of job around. His career was over immediately, and he hasn't found the job again in football. But my point is the societal aspect of it. A lot of people, I think most of the reason he hasn't got a job is because companies and professional teams don't want to deal with the backlash from society. But this is where I'm confused by the, I don't want to say hypocrisy, but by the, here's a situation, a man in Dallas is responsible for somebody's death, and he's working in the profession, and nobody has an issue with it. It's not even mentioned. Ray Rice, to the best of my knowledge, wasn't a serial abuser. Clearly what he did was wrong, and I'm not justifying it. But he's made amends. He's married the woman. She's supported him and forgiven him, and yet this person can't find the job. So to me, it's almost like the societal versus criminal aspect. Criminally served no time, but society has punished him. Again, but yeah, we have a man that's responsible for a death, and yet he's employed in the business. Conversely, another story I want to share with you guys from way back when was there was a linebacker for the St. Louis Rams named Leonard Little. Leonard Little was drunk and rear-ended a car, killing a woman. You want to talk about effed up. He served some time, I believe. I don't know the facts, but I know he came back to play in the NFL. The woman he killed was the wife of a team photographer for the St. Louis Rams. And you talked about warped. About 2 years later, Leonard Little is on the football field playing football in the NFL. And this gentleman, because of his job, has to sit there and photograph the team and him in action. Can you imagine that you're taking pictures of a man making hundreds of thousands of dollars on a football field because you have to, and that man was responsible for your wife's death? That just blows me away. I'm not here to say that it wasn't a mistake, and I'm not saying Leonard Little deserves to be. I'm just saying this gentleman on the sideline lost his wife. We'll never have her back. And yet this man served a short period of time and is playing a game that's getting paid handsomely for. And that was it. That just blows me away. So to those of you that don't know the facts of that case, you can go Google Leonard Little. I remember this probably in the mid-2000s, I think it took place. But I'm just trying to imagine what's going through this gentleman's mind. Well, he's got a photograph this gentleman that is responsible for his wife's death. It's just bizarre. And then lastly, I'll finish up a personal story. There's a story that came out of California that I believe he's even a lawmaker. By lawmaker, I mean, I think an assemblyman or something like that. But he spanked his 7-year-old daughter, spanked her at home. And she went into school and must have said something to a teacher. And the teacher got child youth services and the district and his wife, and he got called in, and the 3 kids were taken away from him shortly because he disciplined his child. Now, I'm not advocating child abuse. I'm not. Clearly, there's a fine line, right? But I have a sensitive spot towards this because of something that happened to me. I was on vacation with my family. We went to Maine, as a matter of fact. And I took the kids and Heather. We were out to breakfast at a diner. And it was one of those days where my son was probably about 4 at the time, probably 4 or 5 at the time, was just acting and pushing buttons. So I excused myself and went and sat over at the counter because his behavior was not well. Well, apparently when I left, his behavior didn't get any better. So his mom was taking him to the bathroom, and I'm not sure what was happening or what was going to happen. I don't know if she was actually going to the bathroom, if he was misbehaving, she was going to speak to him, but I saw how he was treating her. So I got up from my seat, and I went in to the bathroom, and I opened the door. I didn't open it politely. I opened the door, and I grabbed him by the arm, and I said, "Knock it off. You're not going to ruin these people's meals." And I grabbed him under the arm, and I carried him like this. Let me try to do this here. Under my arm, out of the diner. This all happened in about 6-7 seconds. Now, clearly, a 4-year-old that sees his dad come in with a look in his eyes that shows he's upset, the tears start. So the door was closed behind me. I opened it, grabbed him, said, you know, I usually say something like, "Are you out of your mind?" or something, or "Knock off your behavior." And then I grabbed him, said that, and opened the door and walked back out. That